Hello, my dear family members. Are you preparing for placement every single day? I know you are preparing for Cognizant, Accenture, Virtusa, and Tech Mahindra, Deloitte, and many other MNCs interviews. And most probably, you are not getting selected, or probably you will not get selected if you miss these points. Most probably, you are solving aptitude questions, you are practicing codings, you are starting technical interview questions, watching interview experiences, everything. But when the actual placement drive comes, you still don't get selected. If this is happening with you, then this video is very important, because today I'm not going to just discuss 10 interview questions or 20 coding problems, top 10 problems, but instead we are going to discuss about something much more important. Why do students get rejected even after preparing so much? And trust me, sometimes the problem is not your knowledge, the problem is how you are preparing. So stay till the end, because I'll also give you some important preparation formula that can actually follow. And also, I have gone through your situation, I have also gone through the stage you are preparing now. I have done some mistakes, I'll share everything in this video. Just before that, guys, if you have not subscribed this channel yet, then please do subscribe and watch the playlist regarding any company that you want, and let me know which content you want more. Now, the first thing is, placement preparations and placement selections are not the same thing. Suppose you solve 500 aptitude questions, coding problems, interview questions, and etc, etc. That's great, but a company doesn't select you because you have solved 500 questions. They select you based on how you perform during that particular 20 to 30 minutes of interview. So that's the thing you have to give importance, and where the students are making mistakes. They treat the placement preparations like a checklist, like aptitude, oh, it's done, and coding problem, oh, done, technical questions, done, HR questions, done. But when the actual assessment comes, they do mistakes. So this is the first mistake, that is preparing without understanding the company. Let's say you are preparing for Cognizant and you use exactly the same strategy for Accenture, TCS, Infosys, Virtusa, Capgemini, and every other company. Now, the common fundamentals are definitely useful, but every company can have a different selection process. Let's say Cognizant may focus on technical assessment, and Accenture may focus on your communication, and TCS may focus on your availability or your hardworking efficiency, etc. So you have to know what particular company focus on. Okay. So some companies also may focus on your projects, etc, etc. So before you start preparing, don't immediately open YouTube and start searching for interview questions or aptitude questions, etc, etc, because it's important, but more important is company's selection process. What are the rounds, what's the eligibility, what topics are being tested, what type of coding questions are asked, what happens in the interview, and let's say, and what previous candidates has experienced, etc, etc. So remember this simple order: there is company first, then pattern second, then preparation third. So preparations are first for most of the candidates, but you should start from company first, know the company, then pattern, then the preparation, so that you can focus on what they are focusing on. Okay, now the second thing is your resume and your knowledge most probably not matching. So this is the second mistake for which the students are not getting selected. Now, imagine your resume says developed a web application using React and Node.js. The interviewer looks at your resume and asks, okay, explain the architecture of your application. And suddenly you are stuck. Then they ask, why did you choose Node.js? You don't know. Which database did you use? You don't know. How does your API work? Again, you don't know. Or you are just murmuring, or you are stuck somewhere else. The problem is not that your project is small. The problem is that your resume says more than what you actually know. So here's very important rule: never put something on your resume that you cannot explain in an interview, because most of the time interviewer asks questions from your resume only or your introductions only. If you lie, then you are not selected. If you have mentioned Java, and know the fundamentals of Java. If you mention SQL, you have to be ready to write SQL queries. If you mention a project, be ready to explain what did you build, why did you build it, how did you build it, what challenges did you face, and what would you improve. So these are all very important, guys. Please give importance whatever I'm telling you, right? And also, what's the future scope and what to improve, etc., etc. Please have this with your like remember this and be ready with that answers. Okay, your resume should represent your actual knowledge, not your imagination. Okay, now I'll discuss about the next mistake, that is third mistake. Students memorize interview answers. For example, what is oops? They memorize the definition. What is the inheritance, and what is the polymorphism, etc., etc. Students are memorizing these questions answer, but you should not. You should give like log ratta मार के चले जाते, but this is not useful. This is not effective. Okay, you have to give answers wisely, and you have to give, you have to build the answer with your own words. So that's a very important thing, with your real life example. And most of the students give same examples. Whatever they read in book, or watch in YouTube or see in Google, they give same interview. They don't have any creativity. They just ratta मार के चले जाते. But you have to give different examples. Let's say for oops concept, people give a car example. For template, this is the class, and object is something that is, etc., etc. But what you have to understand, that is, you have to be exceptional. So give another example which probably other will not give you. Okay, other will not give to the interviewer. I hope you understood. So whenever you are preparing technical topics, follow three levels. That is, at first, level 1, definition. Level 2 is example. Level 3 is follow up. So level 1 definition means what exactly is the concept. Level 2 is example. Can you explain it with an example? Level 3 is follow up. Can you handle a question if the interviewer changes the situation? So this is what you have to know. Okay, and what is the answer to this question? Ask yourself, if I were the interviewer, what would I ask next? That's how you move from memorization to actual interview preparations. Okay, and also you can get help from your colleagues, I mean your student friends, teammates, etc., so that you can prepare better. Okay, now I'll discuss about the next mistake that students make, that is ignoring the communication skill. Many students say my technical knowledge is good, I'll improve my communication later. But communication doesn't improve one day before your interview. And let me clarify something. Good communication doesn't mean speaking complicated English. You don't need a fancy vocabulary. You don't need an American accent. You don't need to speak extremely fast. You simply need to communicate your thoughts clearly. That's what student, like interviewer, wants. Okay, and think for a second, then answer clearly, then use simple sentences. And if you don't know something, don't panic. You can simply say, I'm not completely sure about that, but based on my understanding, I know this. Okay, and also this was not in our scope of project, etc., etc. That's much better than trying to make up an answer, or like wrong answer. Okay, the interviewer is not testing your English literature. They want to know whether you can clearly communicate your thoughts. So start practicing your answers out loud, not just in your head. Okay, now let's discuss about the next very important mistake that students make regarding project. Not knowing your own project, guys. Actually, I had few friends. Actually, I was the team lead of our project, and two or three friends were not working together. So they missed some points, but still we helped them involved there. But this is a very common mistakes that few people will not be involved in project. They just contribute with money, and they are not sharing the knowledge, times, etc. So that's a very important part in your interview, not knowing your own projects. This is especially important for fresher, because a lot of students have two or three projects on their resume, but when the interviewer starts discussing the project, they struggle. For example, why did you choose this technology? Why did you use MySQL, not other? How does the backend communicate with the front end? What does the biggest challenge? What would you change if you had more time? These are very normal questions. Your project doesn't have to be extraordinary. It can be simple e-commerce website, it can be an attendance management system, it can be a college project. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether you understand what you built. Before your interview, make sure you can explain at least these five things. What did you build? Why did you choose this approach? What technologies and why? And what problem did you face? What would you improve? So these are the very important thing you have to know. And the last, I think the sixth mistake that students make, that is regarding mock interviews. Before you starts your interview, think about it. You can watch 100 interview videos, you can read 200 questions, but that doesn't mean you will perform well when someone is actually sitting in front of you. Interviewing is a skill. You need practice, and you don't necessarily need an expensive platform. Take your phone, open the camera, set a timer for 20 or 30 minutes, then ask yourself questions, record your answers, and watch the recording. You will notice things you never realized before. Maybe you are speaking too fast. Maybe you are saying after every sentence. The filler words should be erupted, right? Maybe your answers are too long. Maybe you are not looking at the camera. Maybe you are giving a one word answer to everything. This kind of self analysis is extremely powerful, because sometimes you don't have a knowledge problem, you have a presentation problem, right? I hope you understood whatever I have told you. Now the biggest mistake students make, that is using the same strategy for every company. Let's say you have three companies visiting your campus: company A, company B, company C. And company A has heavy coding assessment, company B has aptitude and communication, company C has technical interview focused heavily on projects. If you spend the exact same amount of time on everything, you are not preparing strategically. You need to identify the priority for each company. Ask, what is the selection pattern? What round has the highest importance? What topics are repeated? What are the common elimination points? What does the job description mention? Then allocate your time accordingly. For example, if coding has a major role in the assessment, spend more time solving coding problems. If there is a communication round, practice communication. If the technical interview is project heavy, spend more time preparing your project. Smart preparation doesn't mean studying more. It means studying the right things at the right time, right? Now, the right preparation formula, I'll say about that. At first, you have to understand the company, job role, and selection process. Then prepare. Learn the required aptitude, coding, and technical concepts. Then practice. Solve questions and coding problems. Then simulate, like take mock test and mock interviews. Then analyze, find your mistakes, and work specifically on them, right? So that's how you can prepare better. Now the question is there any platform where I can prepare for mock test, mock interviews, coding questions, aptitude questions, and strategically preparations, etc.? Yes, there is a platform, topmate.io/techno_uf. There we have included all the interview questions from C++, Java, Python, DBMS, SQL, coding questions, operating system, networking, machine learning, cloud computing, managerial questions, HR questions, and we have company specific interview questions. You can prepare through that. And also top 100 MNCs questions can be there. And also there are this type of template answers which suits for every other companies, and this type of feedback students are giving to us. You can go through that, and yes, you can prepare through these. And here you will get mock interview scopes, mock test, etc., etc. So please go through that. It will be very much helpful for your upcoming drives. So thank you for today's session, guys.